Now, joining me to discuss this further is economist Sopitan. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, the Central Bank Governor Olayemi Cardoso has been sounding upbeat about some of the measures taken by the Apex Bank to address the forex problem the country is confronting, saying the measures will eventually turn things around. Now, can you tell us what you think about everything he has been saying?
Well, it's thanks for having me. First of all, look, there's so much to unpack of what's been happening the last couple of weeks with regards to exchange management of foreign exchange rates and generally speaking, the economy as a whole. The current crisis that we're facing, thank God that everybody can now see. Some of us have been saying that, look, we're facing an economic crisis that could lead to social breakdown, social disorder. Well, thank God that we're getting a response now. It is gratifying to see the Central Bank of Nigeria, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, and the Minister of Finance in particular, those two officials of the government, of the federal government, communicating so steadily and constantly now for the public, some at the instance of the legislature, but also on their own. I mean, everybody will remember the interview that the CBN governor granted to Arise TV just at the beginning of this week. And the messaging across all of these engagements, all of these public engagements have been consistent, and it's been in the direction of the actions that they've been taking to get us out of this and how we got into this in the first place. And there's still a bit of divergence of opinion with regards to some of the reasons that the CBN governor is preferring as to why we're here and some of the measures that are being taken to get us out of it. But I think if you look at some of the indicators, the early signs are encouraging. It may very well be that in the next 2-3 months, may be in a far better place than we are today. But I think that for that to happen, we need to see quite a bit more from the central bank in terms of policy making, and we need to see quite a bit more honesty from the federal government. I think there's still quite a lot that's been unsaid. There's still there's still a lot of things that are the reasons for where we are that are not being addressed. And if we do not address those things, then it's very unlikely that we're going to see significant change. We have fundamental liquidity and supply challenges with the foreign exchange markets. Those problems are as a result of a lack of transparency with regards to government finances. Right. If we don't deal with those issues, then we may not see any serious lasting effect.
All right. So, Mr. Sopitan, yesterday, the government announced a raft of measures to address the rise in food prices in the country. Now, among the measures is the release of grains from the National Reserve, and rice millers also pledging to increase their output. Now, beyond this and some other measures the government has announced, what else do you think needs to be done to quickly bring down the food prices?
Food prices are the way they are, yes, because of the lack of adequate supply of food, but also because of the high cost of sourcing the food. We have to remember that Nigeria still imports a significant portion of the food that we eat. I think it's important to note this, so this is not just a problem of logistics and supply. There is a problem of supply. There is a problem of production as a result of the insecurity, in the middle belt especially. There's a problem of logistics, transporting the food from the farm gate down to the market, the cost of doing so, and even the visibility and, the actual reality of doing so. These are challenges that we're facing. But there is also a problem of cost of securing food that we import as a result of the foreign exchange challenges that we face. So releasing, strategic reserves of food into the market may address this to a certain degree, but I am not particularly optimistic because even the process and the modalities for releasing those grains getting them to the people has not been clearly defined and subject to serious corruption and manipulation, as we have seen with the usual palliatives and all of that. So for me, the solution to the food, the inflation, food inflation crisis that we're facing, and which has resulted in the cost of living crisis, as we now like to call it, is still rooted in the lack of transparency in some of the things that the federal government has been doing. And it's not just about this government, it's about what has been happening over the last 8, 9, maybe even 10 years. Until we deal with these things, I'm sorry and I'm afraid we may not get a significant improvement, with regards to the cost of food in the marketplace.
All right. Thank you for joining us to lend in your thought, Mr. Sopitan.